Tanjung Piai by-election records high voter turnout. Chile agrees to hold referendum on constitution. Good evening, I'm Cynthia Arthur. You're watching News on 2. All the 27 polling centres with 125 streams for the Tanjung Piai parliamentary by-election were closed at 5:30 p.m. today, marking the end of voting which began at 8 a.m. The results are expected to be announced at about 10 p.m. The Election Commission EC said voter turnout had reached its target of 70% by 4 p.m. There are 52,471 registered voters in the Tanjung Piai parliamentary constituency. Two of the contesting candidates in the by-election were among the first to cast their votes. Pakatan Harapan PH candidate Carmaine Sardini arrived at the polling centre at Sekolah Kebangsaan SK Teluk Kerang at about 7:45 a.m. and was accompanied by his younger brother Shafi Sardini. On arrival, Carmaine went into the school building and headed to polling stream 2 to cast his vote. Meanwhile, Barisan Nasional candidate Datuk Seri Dr. Wee Jack Seng arrived at Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Cina SJKC Yuming 1 and 2 in Pekan Nanas at 7:40 a.m. to cast his vote. The by-election is called following the death of incumbent MP Datuk Dr. Mat Farid Mat Rafiq last September due to heart complications. Besides Carmaine and Datuk Seri Dr. Wee, 4 other candidates are contesting for the seat. They are Gerakan candidate Wendy Subramaniam, Parti Barisan Jemaah Islamiyah, Berjasa Presiden Datuk Dr. Badrul Hisham Abdul Aziz, and 2 independent candidates Dr. Ang Chuan Lok and Farida Aryani Abdul Ghaffar. Meanwhile, voting in Tanjung Piai has proceeded in an orderly manner. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said, based on his own inspection and reports from police, there had been no untoward incidents except for the minor provocations usually seen at elections. Tan Sri Muhyiddin, who is also Bersatu President, had visited several places with a high concentration of voters since this morning.
Semangat semua pihak agak tinggi. Saya turun di setengah tempat tu, dia laungan hidup Pakatan, sokong PS nombor 4 macam-macam di sebelah BN, Pembangkang pun nampak ada jugalah. Jadi yang penting tidak ada apa-apa yang luar biasa lah. Kalau tak tinggi semangatnya, mereka lesu pun satu hal juga.
He said this when met at Pontian District Police Headquarters. Election Commission's chairman, Dato' Azhar Azizan Harun, when met this morning, also expressed his satisfaction over the smooth voting process. A man was killed and 4 other people were seriously injured when the car they were travelling in crashed in Jalan Tuaran Bypass in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah early this morning. The Kota Kinabalu Fire and Rescue Department in a statement said Amirul Izzat Rahmat, 21, was killed after he was thrown out of the vehicle. It is believed that the Proton Saga he was in had gone out of control and crashed. The statement also said that the department received a distress call at 5:17 a.m. before dispatching a response team to the scene. The injured, meanwhile, were Zulhafiz Pasaran, Muhammad Zulhilmi Abdullah, Faizam Fasal, all aged 19, and Hafiz Saruji, aged 23. All victims were sent to the hospital Queen Elizabeth to receive further treatment. The Education Ministry will evacuate about 400 Malaysian students in Hong Kong if the situation there threatens their safety. Its Minister Dr. Mazli Malik said the ministry would be in constant contact with Wisma Putra for any further action should the situation become critical. At the same time, the ministry via Education Malaysia Beijing will continue to closely monitor the situation in Hong Kong and report any updates. Previously, Wisma Putra advised Malaysians who have non-essential needs to postpone their travel to Hong Kong following the ongoing demonstrations and protests in some of its districts. Malaysian students in Hong Kong are also advised to remain vigilant and alert on their safety and to constantly be in touch with the Consulate General of Malaysia to get the latest updates. Dr. Masli is currently in Paris, France, to represent Malaysia at the 40th session of the General Conference of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. The Independent Police Complaints and Misconduct Commission, IPCMC, can play the role of enhancing the reputation of the Royal Malaysian Police, PDRM, in the eyes of the public. Chairman of the Parliamentary Special Select Committee tasked will be looking into IPCMC bill, Ram Karpal Singh said, prior to its implementation reports, studies and the views of various parties, regardless of their political differences, will be taken into account. Commenting further on the matter, Ram Karpal said the IPCMC establishment should be viewed positively as it can restore public perceptions and reform the agency's image.
Salah laku polis ini bukan kita cakap polis, image polis adalah tidak baik. Itu bukan tujuan rang undang-undang ini. Rang undang-undang ini boleh mempertingkatkan lagi image polis. Kita perlu lihat rang undang ini dari sudut tersebut. Bukan untuk punish pihak polis, bukan. Tapi rang undang-undang ini boleh meningkatkan standard pihak polis.
He said this after attending the IPCMC public hearing session in Kuala Terengganu, Terengganu. Ram Karpal added the hearing session was the last being carried out before submitting a recommendation to the Dewan Rakyat, which is expected to be no later than the 25th of November. The Kota Kinabalu Marine Police Force, PPM, detained 2 men and seized a boat on suspicion of being involved in fish bombing activities in Pulau Gaya, Sabah. Sabah Region 4 MPF Commander ACP Muhammad Pajeri Ali, in a statement released, said one of the men detained had no identity document while the other was a 34-year-old local. He also said during further investigation, the team found 20 kilograms of various fish believed to be caught using explosives, as well as several items believed to be used to catch the fish, including a fishing net. The seizure, worth 1,500 ringgit, was handed over to the Fisheries Department for further investigation under Section 26, Subsection 1C of the Fisheries Act 1985 for fishing with explosives. If convicted, both suspects may face a maximum fine of 20,000 ringgit and maximum jail term of 2 years. 8 homes were damaged in a storm that hit several villages in Kuala Muda, Kedah yesterday. In the incident, 2 houses were hit by trees while 6 others were damaged when the roof was blown off. Kuala Muda Public Defence Force APM officer Captain Azhar Ahmad said they were informed of the incident at 6 p.m. before dispatching a team to the areas. Azhar said works on removing the fallen tree and cleaning the house of the victims were carried out immediately. He said no relief centre had been opened so far, as all affected homes could still be occupied. The APM officer added that no injuries or fatalities were reported as well. Coming up next, employers want government to pay for paternity leave. The Human Resources Ministry has held discussions with the Malaysian Employers Federation, MEF, regarding the 7-day paternity leave for workers in the private sector. Its Minister M. Kulasegaran said the discussions were made to include the opinion of various quarters before it is tabled in the Parliament soon. Kulasegaran said MEF agreed to grant the 7-day paternity leave provided if the government could bear the salary for that leave period. He also said this is not an easy task to do, as the ministry has been receiving supports and rejections from various quarters regarding the issue. He also added that nowadays, most newborns have jaundice and this requires close care by both parents. Meanwhile, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Lee Boon Chye said the granting of 7-day paternity leave could help mothers cope with postpartum depression. He said this matter should be given attention because mothers need all the help and support they can get after giving birth. Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah wants University Malaysia Pahang UMP to look for new strategic partners to help enhance its abilities to compete with other universities. This, His Majesty said, would increase UMP's capability to generate income to fund its activities and further improve its performance among local higher learning institutions. At the same time, Al-Sultan Abdullah, who is also UMP Chancellor, urged the university to focus on the development of artificial intelligence technology that could help boost the country's economy in the future.
Selaras dengan fokus terkini pendidikan tinggi negara yang berteraskan pendidikan teknikal dan latihan vocational ataupun TVET. Maka saya menyeru universiti ini untuk mengambil langkah proaktif dalam menjayakan agenda ini.
His Majesty also believed cooperation between UMP and industry players at home and overseas could strengthen further the university's role in producing human capital that could meet both the country and international's needs. Al-Sultan Abdullah said this in a royal decree in conjunction with the UMP's 14th convocation ceremony at the Gambang campus, which was also attended by the university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor and Senior Dr. Wan Azhar Wan Yusof. This year, convocation will see 3,782 UMP graduates receive their scrolls. Kelantan will seek an allocation from the federal government to build public swimming pools in the state. State Youth Sports and Non-Governmental Organisation Committee Chairman Wan Roslan Hamad said the request would be made through the State Youth and Sports Department to the Youth and Sports Ministry. Commenting further, Wan Roslan said the request would also be made as part of the state's preparation to host Sukma Games in 2024.
Kita nak paling asalnya dua. Untuk lelaki dan untuk perempuan. Di Kelantan ni dari sudut tempat tu tak nak dalam mana-mana sebab kita Kelantan tanah luar. Cuma kita nanti peruntukkan daripada pusat.
He said this after opening the state-level National Sports Month at Dataran Warisan Sultan Muhammad IV Stadium, Kota Baru. In conjunction with the National Sports Month, Wan Roslan said various sports activities expected to involve the participation of 249,000 people would be held. Music rhythmic patterns are known to provide a structured way for special children to organize their auditory information. In line with this, Tarana, a school for children with special education needs, held its annual concert at the main auditorium of University Malaya's Education Faculty in Kuala Lumpur. Tarana students not only won the hearts of the 150 spectators with their performances, but also showcased that both music therapy and music education can have a transformative impact on the lives of children with special needs. Among the performances performed by the 38 students, aged between 6 to 16, included several dances and yoga skills. All performances were choreographed by the teachers at Tarana, keeping the abilities and limitations of the kids in mind. The concert, aided by 16 weeks of intensive training, incorporated techniques to help prepare the children for a public performance and to understand the process, people, and the environment around them. Tarana, established by Rhythm Foundation, is the brainchild of Datin Sri Umayal Eshwaran, who also serves as the chairperson of the foundation. Located in SS3 Petaling Jaya, Selangor, Tarana provides educational programs for children with attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, dyslexia, and sensory integration disorder, speech impairment, global development disorder, autistic and impulsive behavior programs, amongst others, are also provided by Tarana. Darul Tazim's JDT Safawi Rasid was named the country's most valuable player for the second straight season at the National Football Awards in Bangi, Selangor last night. The forward had a successful season with JDT, scoring 20 goals and helping them win the Super League and Malaysia Cup crowns. Safawi, who has earned 26 international caps, also bagged the Best Striker, Most Popular and Local Top Scorer awards and was listed on the Team of the Season. The recognition will be an added motivation for the 22-year-old when Harimau Malaya entertain Indonesia in Tuesday's pre-World Cup match in Bukit Jalil. JDT players also won other award with Farizal Marlias and Akhia Rashid taking home the Best Goalkeeper and Most Promising Player trophies respectively. Singapore international Haris Harun retained his Best ASEAN Player award, while Brazilian-born striker Diogo Santo was named Best Foreign Player. Perak centre-back Shahrul Saad retained his Best Defender award, while Pahang's Mahamadou Sumare and Dola Saleh were named Best Midfielder and Best Coach respectively. That concludes this evening's news. On to, in our top story, Tanjung Piai by-election records high voter turnout. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. I'm Cynthia Arthur and thank you for watching.